This is a tragedy for the family and friends of the victim, but it's also a tragedy for the entire city. 2 lives taken far too soon in an act we believe to be completely random. In no way could the victims have anticipated what would happen to them. There is no making sense of this. In our deep with the families that are impacted by this event. Many communities are hurting today. This happened on a school property where students and families now carry trauma. While there are still many things that are unknown and an ACER investigation is underway, there is some additional context I can give you today. On Friday, officers responded to a weapons complaint outside of Crawford Plains School. 911 received multiple reports of 2 people being violently attacked and stabbed by a male suspect who fled the area on foot, and we responded within minutes. When officers arrived on the scene, the woman was deceased, and officers performed life-saving measures on her critically injured child. The child was transported to hospital by EMS, where they succumbed to her injuries. The suspect was located by officers soon after, a short distance away, where an altercation occurred and officers discharged their firearms, striking the suspect. The suspect is currently in hospital on life support. Autopsies for the mother and child are scheduled for today and tomorrow. Here's what we know of the suspect so far. I can confirm he was known to police, having a history dating back to 2009 that included multiple charges of assault with a weapon, robbery, and an incident last year involving a random assault on a 12-year-old child in an LRT station. Though he has been in and out of jail on various charges, officers most recently interacted with him last month when he allegedly assaulted an individual with a scooter. He was brought before a judge and released with conditions, and the charges were later stayed. There are also indications that the suspect has a history of mental health concerns. In addition to his violent encounters, we do not know the status of any mental health assessments that were requested on any of his files. We are continuing to see increases in random violent crimes citywide. One other concerning detail that we've learned is that the suspect attempted to gain entry into the school prior to the murders. I want to be clear, we give full credit to the school administration for following protocols, where this could have been a larger tragedy than it is today. I also want to give credit to heroic actions of a teacher that may have prevented further loss to life. Regrettably, this incident clearly shows the intersection between healthcare and the justice system, and how gaps in our current services and supports can result in far-reaching tragedy. Let me be clear. Everyone in Edmonton should be impacted by this. Everyone in our city should feel the unthinkable loss of a mother and child. I know everyone at APS does. This is becoming far too common. There were multiple intervention points, multiple opportunities to hold the suspect accountable and provide him the professional support required to manage his behavior. But the system, once again, failed. It didn't get to this point. It shouldn't have. As I've been saying for many years, we need a coordinated approach from all service providers and orders of government that this doesn't happen again. I also stated just recently, this is why the Canadian Chiefs, of which I was one of them, met with the premiers recently, and regardless of party stripe, all agreed that we need to provide different actions on bail reform, mandatory mental health assessments for violent offenders, better coordinated justice and mental health supports. In coming days, We will be continuing community follow-ups in conjunction with the school and the city as required. Again, as much as I want to offer condolences to the family of the victims and the community, I also want to thank all of our first responders who are on site during this horrific event and have to live with this lasting impact. We are offering support to our EPS members, thanks to our colleagues in EMS, thanks to the colleagues in the education system. But this has an impact, and this has to stop. And this doesn't stop until the approach changes. Thank you. I know you all have lots of questions. Obviously, this investigation is ongoing. I'll try to answer them as best I can, but I will assure you, as the investigation unfolds, we will have others in front of the camera to give you ongoing, updated events of this incident. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief Mcfee. Do we have any more details around why exactly the young girl called her mom, the mom came in, and why, if something happened in the school, why she was outside in just those events?
We believe, based on early indications of investigation, which we will obviously confirm, the children had walked home and couldn't get in, and they came back, obviously, to meet the mother at the school, and this is what she come on to when she got there.
So the mom wasn't called because the kids felt scared about this man?
Again, the only one that can probably answer that is the mother, and I don't want to obviously speak on behalf of the family or anybody else. All I know is we will do everything within our investigative powers to get those answers to you as the days unfold.
Any idea why the suspect was in that area near that school, or any connection to that area?
No, other than we believe that he lives in the close proximity. Let's put it that way.
Any other questions? Take it up at the podium. Mike?
Dave?
Okay.
Sure.
Is he being looked at as a suspect in any other unsolved crimes in the Millwoods area?
You know what? It's a great question. We're going to look at everything, absolutely. You know, there's descriptions that he doesn't quite match, but that doesn't mean it is, as you know, descriptions and some things aren't quite accurate sometimes, so we will be investigating all of those aspects.
You talked about him being known to police. Some in the neighborhood describe him as well known for this, not this behavior, but behavior less than this, but problems in that neighborhood.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we have previous engagements. This individuals have been charged at least 4 times for assaulting minors. I mean, it seems like obviously a continued behavior. There was a serious incident that he was involved in Winnipeg, I think back into 2009. So absolutely, he's got a history of this type of things, as you said, not to this extent though.
And just one more, was he out on a CSO with regard to the 12-year-old?
No.
Hi, Chief Mcfee, Andrea Hunkar, CBC. Are you releasing the name of?
No, until we get approval from the family, obviously, to release the name. And, you know, obviously, ACERT has part of the investigation in relation to the offender as well. So at this point in time, we won't be releasing, but in the coming days, we'll absolutely, once we get approval from the family in relation to the victims, certainly that's something that we will revisit.
Sorry, and you say approval, you mean approval of the?
Well, every time when we have something like this, we want to make sure that the family's okay for releasing this, because it's obviously sensitive and they're trying to deal with it. So it's not saying we won't release it, it's just at this time we're not going to.
Sorry, and I just wanted to clarify that the alleged attacker, are you?
Oh, that's different. No,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the victims.
Sorry, yeah, my
Okay,
fault.
the alleged attacker right now is on life support, and certainly there's protocols in relation to obviously notifying family. So at this point in time, till those notifications are, we don't want them finding out by somebody other than that.
Makes sense. Are you able to say anything else about his injuries or not because of the investigation?
I mean, obviously he's on life support, so his injuries are serious.
Okay. I think that's all for.
Okay.
I know it's easier said than done, but I mean, this is obviously, in relation to bail reform and issues around there, with such a tragedy, is there any accountability around maybe the last judge that this man saw, or like, are we reaching a point now where there's going to be that kind of follow-up as to why this man was allowed out?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, there's accountability all over the place right now, and I mean, That's exactly why, we went to the premiers, trying to do this, because this isn't just Edmonton. There's other events happening nationally. So I think everything has to be re-examined. That's my own personal opinion of that. And, it's not to lay blame. It's to try to fix this so it doesn't continue to happen. But the lack of accountability right now in both holding individuals accountable for serious violent offenses is concerning.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you, all of you, for putting this out. Obviously, these are things as certainly as a chief and certainly as a police officer, but also a citizen of Edmonton. These are the things that we need to be concerned of. This can't continue to go on. We're lacking accountability in the system, and the reality is these are the discussions that we need to have going forward, and that's why we want to make sure you have as much information as you can right now. I just also want to say, because I've heard people throwing around that this is a race-based attack, we do not at this time have anything to indicate that, just to be very clear. So those discussions and some people that try to make this something that it isn't, I think is equally important to all of us that we maintain what this is. This is a dangerous individual that took 2 lives in Edmonton that shouldn't have happened. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.